Are you happy with the roles that you play? Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to Fearless Fridays. Today is Friday, July 31st. This is episode 63 of Fearless Fridays. And as always, I wish you a happy Friday and I welcome you back to the show, whether it's your first time or your 63rd time. Welcome to the show. As you can see, I'm rocking my Fear Stupid tee today. Just as a reminder, the fear is stupid. Yes, it is. But today I want to talk to you about the roles that you play. And I want to ask you, are you happy with the roles that you play? In the past, I've hosted vision board workshops, and generally they happen at the beginning of the year because that's when everyone is realigning themselves with their vision and making this beautiful artistic vision board that reminds them of what their goals and their visions are. But one of the questions that I like to ask when I host vision board workshops and kind of lead people through the process of creating their vision board is, who are you outside of the roles that you play, the role or the roles that you play? Who are you at your core outside of the roles that you play? It's very interesting when we talk about playing different roles. Everyone understands that actors, I myself am an actor, as you guys know by now, but actors, we take on different roles. It's our job to play characters that are not who we are. And everyone has an understanding that you're playing this character, but that's not necessarily who you are. That's not who you are at your core. That's not who you are at all. You might have similarities to that character, but that's not who you are. It is a role that you take on. It's a role that you play, that you've been given to play or that you've chosen to play. And there is something that's similar in life. There we have a lot of roles that we take on. The problem is, in real life, a lot of times people don't understand that the role that they're playing isn't necessarily who they are. People understand that when it comes to actors, but in real life, people don't always understand that the role that they've taken on or the role that has been given to them isn't necessarily who they are at their core. And so I want to ask you today, are you happy with the roles that you play? There are roles that we choose for ourselves. For example, you might go from being someone's friend to being someone's girlfriend or boyfriend. That is a role that you've taken on, the role of girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, whatever. That's a role that you've taken on, that you've chosen. You might go from being girlfriend, boyfriend, partner to being husband, wife. And that is a role that you choose to take on. That's a new position that you take on, that you choose to play. You might then decide to have children. So you then choose to take on the role of being a mother, a father, a caretaker. And these are roles that you take on, that you choose to take on. But a lot of times the roles that we take on are not necessarily chosen by us. Sometimes they're given to us. Sometimes we fall into those roles by default. And those roles can be determined by a lot of different things. They can be determined by community, the community that you're in and the role you play in that community. They can be determined by your family structure or family positioning, where you fall in the family. The roles can be determined by social structure, by class, by all kinds of things. There are all kinds of different pockets that we find ourselves in, where the role that we play in that certain sphere or that certain community is different from the role that we play in another sphere or another community. And again, these are roles that can be put upon us, roles that we just kind of fall into by default. For example, if you are the youngest child in your family, you have all these older siblings, you have mother and father, you have aunts and uncles, you have grandparents, all these people who are older than you, whose job it is to care for you and rear you and teach you and help you grow. And as a child, you fall into that naive space of not knowing anything about the world, of allowing everyone who's older than you to make decisions for you and to speak for you, and you fall into the role of the quiet, naive child. But as you grow up, as you get older, as you become an adult, as you start to experience the world for yourself and have opinions for yourself, that role of the quiet, naive child might not necessarily jive with who you are anymore. My phone is ringing. Landline. That role of the quiet, naive child who everyone has to take care of, that's not necessarily who you are anymore. It's a role that was given to you, a role that you kind of took on, but it's not who you are anymore. And so here comes the part where I ask, are you happy with the role that you're playing? Because if you as a grown woman or grown man are still playing this quiet, naive child that you've always been, but you know that that's not really you. You know that you're outspoken, you have your own opinions, you're very level-headed, you make good decisions, and you are well respected in other spheres of your life, but in your family, you're still this quiet, naive person. That might not be a role that you're happy with anymore. And you have to figure out a way to represent yourself and reposition yourself in a way that lets people know I'm no longer this quiet, naive person. I am now an adult. I have my own opinions. I make my own decisions. I live my own life. I have my own thoughts. I'm not naive any longer. I'm very strong-willed. I'm very outspoken. These are things that you have to figure out how to communicate to the people who have always treated you as this quiet, naive, childlike person. And so, like I said before, are you happy with the role that you're playing? Are you happy with the role that you're playing in your friend circle? Are you happy with the role that you're playing in your family? Are you happy with the role that you're playing in your community? Are you happy with the role that you're playing in your social setting? Are you happy with the role? Because if you're not, you have the power, you have the right, you have the ability to decide, I'm not going to play this role anymore. I'm not going to play the role of the quiet, naive child anymore. I'm not going to always be the peacemaker. I'm not going to always be the person who calms down everybody else's drama, or I'm not going to always be the person who rescues you out of bad decisions, or I'm not going to always be the person who doesn't call you on your mistakes. I'm not going to be the person who coddles you. I'm not going to, whatever the role is, if you're not happy with it, if it no longer is in line and in step with who you are and who you're becoming, you have the power to change it. You have the right to change it, and you can control it. You can control it. You can choose to no longer fall in line with that positioning, that placement, that role that you've been given. You can decide to change the characteristics of the role. You can decide. The power is in your hand to choose. And it goes back to, again, what I was talking about a couple weeks ago, the power to choose how you're going to move forward. You have the power to choose how you're going to move forward if you are not happy with the role that you have been given, if you're not happy with the role that you've been playing. This is something that I've talked about before in the past, where I talk about sometimes the fears that we have are earned. Like, our fears came from a real situation that happened to us in life, and so that fear is kind of earned. But a lot of times our fears come from, they're inherited. They're heaped upon us by family, by friends, by acquaintances, by the world, by society. Everyone says we should be afraid of a certain thing, so we just go along with being afraid of that thing. But it's not necessarily our fear. We're living according to someone else's fear. And that's the same thing here with the roles that we play. Sometimes the roles that we play are chosen by us, but sometimes the roles that we're playing are inherited. They are old roles that no longer fit into who we are now or who we're becoming. And so just like you have the power to say, that fear is not mine, I'm not going to live by it. You have the power to say, that role is not mine, I didn't choose it, or it no longer goes along with what I believe, what I think, what I feel, who I am, who I'm becoming. It no longer fits. And so if that's the case, if the role that you're playing no longer fits with who you are, you can choose it. You can choose to not choose it anymore. You can choose a new role. You can choose to change the characteristics of that role. You can choose to represent yourself in a way that says, that's no longer me, and reposition yourself into the new role that you see for yourself, the new role that you want to play. So Are you happy with the roles you're playing? That's the question. And if not, what are you doing to change the role? What are you doing to change how you're perceived? What are you doing to shift your own mindset and your own perspective, and then help shift the mindsets and the perspectives of the people around you who have grown accustomed to you operating in a certain role? What are you doing to change the role that you play? That's what I have for you guys this week. As always, fear is stupid. Get out in the world. Live, love, go, do, be. If you want some Fear is Stupid swag, I got some for you, honey. Just go to fearstupid.com. I got t-shirts, I got tank tops, I got hoodies, I got mugs, I got everything. So if you want some Fear is Stupid swag, go to feariststupid.com. Very easy to remember. But yeah, get out in the world, live, love, go, do, be. And remember that you have the power to change the roles that you play. If you're no longer happy with them, the choice is yours. The power is yours. So go choose. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.